All right, let's dive into a really fascinating financial puzzle. We're looking at two companies, both of them major players in the tea industry. But when you check out their results for the 2024-25 financial year, one is just blowing the other out of the water. So, what's going on?
And when I say blowing them out of the water, I am not kidding. Just look at this. TTE Group's net profit margin is a whopping 15.82%. Meanwhile, KVPL Group is way down at just 4.35%. That is more than 3.5 times higher. This isn't just a small difference, folks. It's a huge gap that really makes you ask, how?
So that's the big question we're tackling in this explainer. How on earth can two companies swimming in the very same pond end up with such a massive difference in their performance? What is TTE doing right, or what's going wrong for KVPL? Let's peel back the layers and figure it out. Okay, first things first. Let's really size up the numbers and see just how deep this performance gap actually goes. Now here's what's so telling. The difference isn't just at the very end with the net profit. It's everywhere. Take a look at the gross profit margin. TTTE is at over 23%. That's almost double KVPL's 12%. Then you go down to the operating profit margin, 18.6% for TTTE versus just 6.7% for KVPL. This tells us the issue for KVPL starts way earlier in the game. So, if the profit margins are that different, the next logical step is to look at the costs, right? Let's go chase down the expenses. Time to find our prime suspect. And there it is, the smoking gun, 10.91%. That number, you see, is the difference in the cost of sales as a slice of their revenue. To put it simply, for every dollar of tea they sell, KVPL is spending almost 11 cents more than TTE just to get that tea ready to sell. This right here is the single biggest reason for that massive profit gap we saw at the beginning. And to really see what that means, check this out. For KVPL, their cost of sales eats up nearly 88% of every dollar they make. For TTE, it's under 77%. Now look at the other costs. Admin, finance, they're pretty close, right? The whole story pretty much is hiding in that very first line, cost of sales. But that just raises another question, doesn't it? Why? Why is their cost of sales so different? Well, the answer is in their fundamental business models. It turns out these two companies, they aren't even playing the same game. So on one side, you've got TTE, which we can call the premium producer. Their model is super straightforward. They grow really good tea, they sell it at auction, and when prices are high, they make a ton of money. Simple. But then you have KVPL. They're a producer plus marketer. They also grow tea, sure, but they have this big marketing division, Mabroc Teas, that actually goes out and buys tea to package and sell. And you can probably see where this is going. That mixed model is precisely what gets KVPL into such a tricky spot. They get caught right in the middle, and that leads to something we call a margin squeeze. First, just take a look at where KVPL's money actually comes from. A huge 73% of the group's total revenue comes from that marketing arm, Mabroc Teas. The actual tea farms, they only bring in about 27%. So it's pretty clear Mabroc is the sales engine for the whole company. But now, look at where the profit comes from. Mabroc brought in 73% of the sales, but it only delivers 65% of the gross profit. And the estates, with just 27% of the revenue, punch way above their weight, delivering 35% of the profit. You see that disconnect? Mabroc is a high revenue but lower margin business. And there's actually a name for this phenomenon. It's called margin dilution. When a really big part of your business, in this case Mabroc, makes a ton of sales but just doesn't have great profit margins, it literally drags down the average profitability for the entire company. That's the trap KVPL is in. And this quote right here, this just nails the core of the problem. For a pure producer like TTE, high tea prices at auction are amazing news. Ka-ching! But for KVPL's marketing arm, Mabroc, which has to buy that tea, those same high prices aren't revenue, they're a cost, a huge cost that just squeezes their profits. And it's not just one thing either. It's like they're being hit from every direction. You've got rising labor costs on the farms, those super high tea procurement costs for Mabroc, general overheads going up, and even the currency exchange rate working against them. It's a perfect storm. All right, so let's put all these pieces together. Let's solve this profit puzzle once and for all. At the end of the day, it really all boils down to their business models. TTE's focused premium producer strategy is perfectly built to win in a market with high auction prices. They just grow the tea and cash in. But KVPL's mixed producer plus marketer model gets caught.
The very same thing that helps their farms, those high prices, absolutely crushes the margins of their much bigger marketing division.
And that leaves us with one last really interesting question to chew on. We've seen exactly how these models work when prices are high. But what happens in a downturn? If auction prices were to suddenly crash, which one of these very different business models do you think would be more resilient? Definitely something to think about.